I'm Stephen Dublin, a product lifecycle manager at Green Elephant BioTech. One of the big challenges that we hear is really the need for, more easily scalable adherent cell culture technologies. So things that are a lot simpler to use, but then are still preserving the native phenotype on the cell types. And this is what suspension cells have been enjoying for years now, and they have a big menu. And I think it's time for adherent cells to actually step up in that area too. I think there's like three main levers for reducing costs, and which by default then also increase accessibility. And the one part is about having more like leading technologies through biology. So biology first technologies. And in that way, what you're really doing is you're simplifying things, you're stripping them down to the bare minimum, removing all the bells and whistles, and getting down to what do the cells actually need. When you do that, by definition, you start to lower costs as well. So that is a big piece. So biology first, and focus on the cells. I think the second piece is co-development. So I think there's a lot of really great technology developers. There's a lot of terrific therapeutic developers. And when they work together, I think you do two things. From the developer side, you avoid these kind of what end up being expensive shortcuts. So you can work together with the technology provider to make sure we're doing what the technology does in service of your cells. And then I think the second part of that is that co-development makes the technology providers responsible, so they're not just chucking out of the box technologies over the fence to the developer and giving them good luck. So working together, I think that's the other piece about lowering costs there. I think the third piece is really, I think it's what I would call sustainability by design. So I think there's been this kind of false narrative about sustainability, which means that it's going to increase costs. But actually, sustainability is about using less resources, using the resources better. So I think if you talk about things about reducing the amount of media that's being used, reducing the amount of resources that are being used to make those bioreactors, and also dealing with things like waste disposal, which is a hidden cost that I think that a lot of developers don't really think about. So those kind of things, there's no reason why we couldn't be reducing the COGS for cell expansion by 30 to 50% just by a more sustainable approach from day one.